All right, so I think we're going to get started. We're about 1 minute after the hour. If you just joined us, thank you. We do appreciate you spending the afternoon with us. I do want to introduce myself very quickly. So my name is Brian Joseph. I'm one of the senior managers here at CDW. Today's webinar is focused on how to work from home productively with Windows 10 Pro. So I'm joined by a few of our family members on the Microsoft team at CDW. But as well, we also have one of our co-presenters from Microsoft. So we have Ritu Dhaliwal, who's the Microsoft Solutions Specialist at CDW. We have Raman Dua, who's a Commercial Master Trainer at Microsoft. And we also have Wael Abdel Majid, who's our Modern Workplace BDM. Get you flip to the next slide. So I guess before we jump into the content here, I want to give a brief overview of CDW, a little bit of a background of how we can help with some of the messages that you're going to hear later on today. But our mission statement, we are the leading IT solutions and services partner in Canada. We're integrating and managing technologies to help customers achieve their desired outcomes. And as much as that's our mission statement, we felt that we've earned the right over time to have that mission statement because it really is based on our experience, both in the global as well as the Canadian market. This slide here, it's a little bit scattered, but it does give a brief history of CDW. I'm not going to call out each one of the bullet points, but I think what's important is to know that we do have an extensive history in the North American market. We've been around since 1984. A lot of our financial achievements has allowed us to reinvest back into the business. And if you look at kind of where our investments have been made, you'll kind of see that it's been towards either growing our presence, and again, that's growing our presence internationally, or really growing our capabilities. And we'll talk about some of those investments very quickly here. But 2015, CDW, we acquired a company called Kelway. Kelway is really what's giving us our global solutions practice, our global solutions and services practice, which was a company that was based out in the UK. More recently, we acquired Scalar Decisions in 2019. Most folks on the phone, or many folks on the phone, would be familiar with that acquisition, as it has a lot more direct impact to our customers here in terms of the solutions and the services and our capabilities that we're able to deliver in country. Most recently, we did acquire an organization called Aptris, which really brought on about 300 ServiceNow integrators. And even more recent than that, earlier this year in 2020, we acquired an organization called IGNW. And IGNW is really a cloud native solutions integrator. And they can really provide, whether it be advisory services or consultation, as you try to journey through the cloud. Next slide, please. This slide here really is what I consider to be CDW's differentiator. The one that really stands out to me is that, we're number 3 on the 2020 Fortune 500 IT services ranking. Not a lot of folks are familiar with that, but as well, CDW, we're the number 178 on the top Fortune 500 list. And if we go back to last year, we were 189. The year before that, we were in the numbers 200. We have a strong track record of performance. And again, a lot of the public information that is available will prove and show that. The other things I'll call out very quickly, just before we flip to that slide, is we do have 2,000 technical engineer resources. We also have a local presence across the country. So regardless if you have a remote office locations or wherever you're headquartered, we're able to deliver and build a team that is really applicable to the way your organization is set up across Canada. And as I kind of mentioned before, CDW, with the acquisition of Scalar in 2019, a large part of the strategy was to grow our presence across the country. CDW now has 9 regional offices. The easy way to consider this is we have an office in each of the NHL hockey cities. We also have now grown to be over 900 plus coworkers in country. One of the cool things that I'd like to call out is that 1/3 of our coworkers are in the ITS department. That is the Integrated Technology team. And essentially, these are technical resources, really the folks that are able to bring a lot of substance to the discussion. If there's a specific outcome or a specific challenge that you're currently experiencing, these are the folks that are really able to help drive a great discussion and help talk you through. With that said, I think we're going to flip to the next slide. That said, I am going to pass the mic over to Ritu Dhaliwal. Again, she's our solution specialist here at CDW, covering the Microsoft category. But I'm going to pass the mic and I will fade off here.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. I'd like to just echo Brian's message there and just say thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. We really value your time, and we hope that you walk away from this webinar learning something new about Microsoft, learning about different solutions that can help you in your organization. So again, my name is Ritu. I'm the CDW Microsoft Solutions Specialist, and I'm actually dedicated to OEM. So Dell, Lenovo, HPI, ASUS. These are some of the partners that I work with, and I bring Microsoft solutions to them. Along with me today, we have Raman Dua, who is from Microsoft. He is a commercial master trainer. And he'll be talking a little bit about Windows 10 intelligent security with you. And then internally, we also have Weil from CDW, who's our modern workplace BDM. So without further ado, we'll kick it off here. Now, before we get in here, I'm just gonna go over the agenda quickly. So we'll talk about modern Windows 10 Pro devices, what that really means when we talk about modern. We'll jump into Windows 10 intelligent security, and then we'll talk about provisioning with Windows Autopilot and the Microsoft Modern Workplace as well. So before I talk about modern devices, one thing I really wanted to talk about was the different remote workers that we have today. So these are the three main ones that we look at, and each of these workers have different needs when it comes to the workplace. So the best thing is that with Windows 10 Pro, there's a wide range of modern devices that are available that cater to each of these. As your organization works remotely, let's just take a look at some of these stats that are available here. And modern workplace has always been top of mind, but now it's even more important. So one of the things that we look at is information workers that used to work in the same place. Now they're dispersed. They're not working in that same office together. We're rethinking deployment, security, and productivity with remote first in mind. And there's an increased demand of collaboration tools for these workers as well. And one of the things that I noticed as soon as we went remote work was the meeting time. It increased so much. So what kind of tools can you bring to your workers to make sure that they're still productive and efficient, even with that meeting time increasing and the different tools that are available to them. So what exactly do we mean by modern devices? I'm sure you hear about this all the time, and so let's really jump into it and let's talk about what exactly this is. So to make it easy, there's three categories that we focus on when we talk about a modern device. So we focus on performance and security, design, and the experiences that come to life with these modern devices. So like, for example, the fast startup time, what does that really mean? Well, that's giving back time to your employees for them to be able to focus on the things that really matter. Speedy processing, so with the latest Intel or AMD processors, making sure that they are getting that speed that's working at the same pace that they are. Easy mobility, so easy to carry around, like a 2-in-1 device that you can use in different forms for whatever works for you. And then the long life battery, that's a really big one that really matters, and it's being able to work on that device without worrying about having it constantly plugged in and being able to move around with that as well. So those are really big, some of the big ones that we focus on for performance and security. And then design, it's being able to have flexibility with the different forms that you need, whether that's a worker that needs that 2-in-1 device or someone that needs something that's stationary, like a workstation, with a full setup and the monitor. It's being able to design those devices to cater to the needs of these workers. So making sure that they have that clear display, regardless of what they're working on. If they're going in and doing editing, making sure that they really have those devices that they need, and then while also keeping in mind that it's thin and lightweight and easy to carry around. The experiences that we talk about are some of them are a fingerprint sign-in, PIN sign-in. And one of the really big ones that we're going to be talking about today is Windows Autopilot, and being able to provide a device to the end user and having it ready to use right out of the box for them. And when we talk about all these features, one story really comes in mind for me is one of my cousins recently, she had an Acura MDX that she had leased out, and her lease ended. So she decided that they were going to wait until the new Acura MDX comes out next year. So they said, you know what? Let's buy a used vehicle for now, and let's use it for like 6 months until that new one comes out, because they really want that one. And they bought a older SUV that doesn't come with a rear view camera. Now, they didn't realize how big of a difference that would make. And I was driving it the other day, and I was reversing out, and just the time that it took to reverse out of the driveway, just making sure there's no kids back there, like triple checking, just made me realize how much I value that rear view camera. It might seem like a small thing, but it makes a huge difference in the way that you save time and your experience with that as well. So that's my little story. Now let's focus on some specific devices when we talk about modern. So let's kick it off with Lenovo. So we have the ThinkPad T14S. We have Gen 1, and then we also have Generation 2 in these as well, and that comes in the 14 and 15. But when we talk about always connected, the Wake On Voice is a really big one that allows you to turn on that device without having to physically touch it, saving you time and giving you that experience of being able to do that. And when we talk about smarter security, it comes with ThinkShield security to keep you, keeping security top of mind for you as well. Smarter collaboration. So, the dedicated meeting hotkeys. So again, meeting time has increased so much. So anything that you can build into that device to make that experience better is going to be a huge win for you. So those dedicated meeting hotkeys allow you to answer and decline calls with just a tap. So it's a great experience there. And then smarter security. So ThinkShutter is a big one, with the number of the calls that we take, whether you can turn on your video camera or you can't. The physical camera cover is a really big one, which avoids all those people that are still using sticky notes out there to cover your camera. So this is a better looking solution for that there. So when we talk about HP, we have the HP ProBook 400 series, the EliteBook 800 series, and these are the devices that are the best of the best, right? So power through your day, so you have flexibility with the different versions of processors that you can get. It comes with the USB-C cable, so great experience there because you can connect multiple different accessories to that. Commercial grade security, so you get the SureStart self-healing BIOS in there as well, and then also HP SureSense as well. So, and then you always have the flexibility of adding on those optional items. So the privacy camera is one of them as well. That comes with the series here. So brilliant design. So again, you get flexibility. So you can choose from a 13-inch, a 14-inch, a 15-inch. I know some people prefer a smaller screen over a larger one and vice versa. So having that flexibility is a great option when you're not having to compromise on any of the performance. And then it's designed with a machined aluminum cover and an easy open front edge, which is also really easy, right? Like when you grab your device, just being able to easily open it up, that all starts with a great experience. And then work from anywhere. So HP noise cancellation is a big one. Like sometimes you get on and calls and you can hear all this background noise, and that's where this is a great feature to be able to cancel out all that extra noise there, so you can focus on what really matters. So for Dell, we have our Dell Latitude 5310, great 2-in-1 device, hours of productivity. So if you look at this here, it's got 14 plus hours of battery. So imagine that, just being able to work without having to worry about the charger or connecting it, and being able to move around freely with that. So that's That's a really big one for the Dell Latitude. And then you can work in a laptop mode, multiple different modes that you can do. So you can also put it into tablet mode and be able to use a pen directly onto the screen. It's great for signing documents, easily being able to send them off. And then full HD display as well, and edge-to-edge Gorilla Glass, which is a huge one because making sure that that screen isn't going to get damaged, and getting such high quality screen is a really big one. ASUS ExpertBook B9, so the world's lightest 14-inch business laptop. It's being able to not compromise on the size of that device, so still getting that 14-inch device, being able to open up those Excel files, being able to work on documents that require a little bit bigger screen, but not compromising the weight of that device. So very light, easy to carry around, and that's a huge plus for this one here. And advanced security as well, so US military grade durability for all those people that I know that are working at home with kids. It's important to have a device that isn't going to break, if something does happen at home. So a lot of these devices are made with the best quality product, and making sure that that durability is kept in mind as well. So those are the devices that we've highlighted from each of the four there. But again, we have a huge range of devices that are available. Feel free to reach out to your account managers, and we can look into other options based off whatever your needs are. These aren't the only ones. These are just some of the ones that we wanted to highlight today. But the way that I look at it when we talk about security on these devices is look at a physical office. When you're looking at that, when you're looking at base security for your office, you're looking at your doors, your windows, you're making sure that that you have the best for that. And so when I look at a device, I compare it to that physical office and those locks, those doors and the windows and the locks. And then we're going to talk about MDM solution, Microsoft Intune later as well. And that's where you get your extra security, having that badge that needs to tap to get into that office, and other features. But it always starts with a base device. And that's why we're highlighting security on these devices, because it is that much more important right now with remote work. So with that said, I'm going to kick it off to Raman here, who's going to talk about Windows 10 security.
Awesome, Ritu. Thank you so much. So good afternoon, folks, and thanks for joining us today. So let me kind of just spend a few minutes here on the intelligent security, and the three key pieces when I just kind of reflect back on Ritu's key messages. When we kind of think about the intelligent security, let's also kind of keep in mind, the design and the experience are the two other pillars we kind of want to spend time on, and the performance which he's touched on. So with that, let me kind of bring up here the pillars here around intelligent security, part and parcel of Windows 10. So I'll just kind of show it to you on the next slide here. Sorry, just taking a little while. I think someone in my neighborhood is probably on the social media, I guess, or on watching some movies. Anyway, so that's what the humor for today. So here's the four pillars. When we kind of deep dive into it from a Windows 10 perspective, the first which comes right off the gates is threat protection. Then definitely as a user, identity protection is extremely important. The third pillar, information protection. We want to make sure every information for the business we have is 100% secured at any given point, and I'm going to spend some time on it. And the fourth component, which has been one of my favorites as it kind of closes the loop, is around making sure how do we manage it from a security management perspective. So let's kind of go on to the first phase here, which is on the threat protection. So as we all know, Windows 10 threat protection includes our next generation malware and hacking defense that protects against threats, including zero-day attacks. So that has been one of the key pieces of protection we brought in as part of Windows 10. The other component, which is also extremely important from a security perspective, it has provided a hardened platform that can prevent encounters, isolate threats, and control the execution of malicious apps and content coming into our network at any given point. So using behavior-based analytical machine learning, we have brought in innovations from a cloud into our platform. As you probably see this, month after month, we are making sure that, we are able to detect and respond to the most advanced threat, and we can also automatically fix them or remediate them right away off the gates. So the three components, when I think about from a protection perspective, the one which comes to mind is Windows Defender Antivirus. So this is where it's providing me an enterprise grade next generation antivirus solution that includes protection against the latest and the most advanced threats coming into our networks from external forces. The second one, just kind of tying it back into it, is on the Windows Defender System Guard. What does it actually help me with? It actually helps me with protecting my device firmware based components, hardware configuration, which is also part and parcel, working together with the three M&As kind of Ritu just kind of went through to make sure we are all tying in together, leading as a team to make sure our users are 100% protected at any given point. And the third one, which has been one of my favorites, is the ATP, which is also known as Windows Defender Advanced Threat Protection. This is where we are bringing in a unified endpoint security platform that helps stop breaches, threat and exploitation protection, and also making sure we are able to capture any kind of detection and response system and automate that, all under one roof for better protection for our customers. So let me kind of go on to my next pillar here from our identity protection perspective as part of the security. So this is where, the two key components, and I think a lot of us have seen the adoption of Windows Hello. And this is where it actually gives the users the opportunity to secure the devices with more than just a passwords. So as a user, I have the capability to choose from a range of authentication options, including traditional passwords, biometrics like fingerprints, if that's what's something which is closest to me. I'll just kind of take my example in this case. I use facial recognition, leaning on the artificial intelligence built in as part and parcel of our Windows 10. I want to showcase some of the innovations we have brought in version after version, just after a few more minutes here. But this is where we are giving the options to our customers to make sure they are able to lean in either from a biometric perspective, like a fingerprint, or facial recognition, which is again favorite of mine. We do have the option also from a PIN perspective, so I can have a 4-digit or a 6-digit PIN on my device. So anytime I turn it on, I have an option to go through my pins, which is extremely, has been one of the most popularly adapted by a lot of our users out there, based on the feedback we see and hear from our customers. The one key piece, just to kind of close off on this is, these all options allow us to kind of, capture all the resources on the premises and in the cloud. And this is where we are able to support a single sign-on. A big demand from our customers like yourself is this is where we are kind of bringing it in. The second piece on the Windows Defender Credential Guard features, this is where we are able to fundamentally break past the hash, which is also known as PTH, and also isolate the attacks which are happening on our users when they are logging in. And we can actually kind of create some containers, isolate them, so there is no way any kind of impact is taking place in our environments while we all work remotely. Now, let me kind of focus a little bit and switch on from the third pillar component here, which is emphasizing a message around information and protection to make sure our data is protected at any given point, which is basically meaning at rest and in use. Key advantage we have brought in from a security perspective, and we look at how well we are working to make sure our users, when we are all working remotely, we are protecting our credentials and also making sure the data is protected at any given point. So the key features, when I look at it on the very first one, which is on the information protector, this is where the capabilities in Windows 10 enables the business information to be separated and contained from personal data, preventing leakage to non-business location while on the device. This is a key component. I think the fine line between working from home and also making sure we are able to kind of cater to our day-to-day activities is getting very skinnier. Just to kind of take an example here, for example, I'll kind of think about, a policy could be defined to prevent information created in a Word document being copied to a personal email account or a social media account. That's something it will come in and make sure that's not something we can actually do when we are working remotely. With BitLocker, organization can rest assured that their sensitive information is better protected from unauthorized access. So even if my device is stolen, which the chances of that is happening right now are pretty low, but if I decide to really step out to maybe a Starbucks, and if I just kind of walk away and grab a coffee, somebody decides to kind of take away my machine, yes, all the information on that is definitely secured. So this way I'm not actually breaking any compliance requirements, which is part and parcel of my organization. And to close it off, the Microsoft BitLocker administration and monitoring. This is where we are able to provide tools that is actually making it easier for our customers to deploy and manage the BitLocker encryption environments, as well as provisioning, you name it, report compliance. So we kind of covering it all to make sure we don't have any kind of loose ends out in there, especially when we are trying to recover a device based on a BitLocker administration. So let me move on to the fourth component here from a Windows 10 perspective, which is around security management. So I think traditionally, a lot of us who have been kind of looking after devices, and we probably kind of know this, in the past, from a Windows security lifecycle management, we had leaned on a lot of third-party tools in the past. Now with Windows 10, I do have the option to kind of lean on my comprehensive security management solutions, which are built in as part of Windows 10. So this is where we might be steering a little bit more towards the enterprise side of the house and looking at a higher version, which is on the E5. But the key takeaway to keep in mind is, with Windows Defender Security, now I actually have as an admin, I do have the capability to manage the end-to-end security management lifecycle with a single console, search up to 6 months of historical data. So to me, that's empowering me while I'm sitting on my machine. I have a single glass of pane. I can definitely go up and look up the analytical which is required from my business. The second piece is basically, I think about it from an analytical perspective, it also empowers me to kind of give me an overall security health score, get recommendation to help reduce future attacks in my environment from external forces. So everything I have is available to me. I don't have to lean on any third-party organization or tools to kind of look at that aspect. So let me kind of show you now the innovations we have brought in as part and parcel of Windows 10 version after version. And when you think and look at this, and some of the innovations we are going to be talking about today, when we look at these, in the bottom you'll see how well Autopilot, for example, which Ritu is going to touch base on very shortly, is kind of coming up. And one of the key advantages is basically when you think about it from a remote work perspective, this is where we are able to make sure we are able to deliver a device with zero touch, coast to coast to our users like yourself. Another piece, when I think about the latest version which we brought in as a release, which is 2004, this is where we are emphasizing our message around a lot more around making sure we have the best in terms of cloud adoption innovations we have brought in, ease of management. So this is where the emphasis is more around making sure when we are working from home, it's easier for us to kind of manage and monitor these devices, and also from a productivity perspective. And moving on. So just to kind of sum it up here, when I think about all the 4 pillars, the 10 bullet points which stand out, this is where we are making sure while we are working remotely, from a threat protection, yes, we are able to capture, protect, and also secure our environment, which is from a user's perspective. The second piece emphasizing is, yes, while we are leaning on the modern devices, from our M&As, we are also making sure we have the capabilities to make sure our users are up and running in one click, and they are able to lean in and kind of log in through various multiple credentials they like to use. Name it from a facial recognition and or from fingerprint, you name it, 4-digit, 6-digit PIN. Yes, we do have that capabilities. Moving along, yes, while we are protecting the environment, also the credentials, we want to make sure all the information is protected no matter what, even if my device is kind of compromised at any given point. And how do I manage the entire 9 yards of my security umbrella? Yes, we do have the capabilities now, part and parcel of Windows 10, to make sure I'm actually leaning on the intelligence built into my platform to make sure I'm taking the right steps to make my environment a lot more safer for the near future. So with that, Ritu, let me kind of pass the buck back to you as a baton. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Raman. So now let's talk about the evolution of business. So IT expectations are obviously changing right now, and the cloud is able to enable a new approach for device deployment. And this is creating a lot of new opportunities. And so now I wanted to focus on transforming that device deployment experience with Windows Autopilot. So this is a solution, there was hesitation with this at first because, IT teams were thinking, okay, well, how does this affect us? Is this going to be removing jobs for us? Is this going to be taking over? But this has become a solution that's now trusted by IT teams, and it's absolutely loved by the end users because the IT team now has full control of that deployment process from start to beginning, without wasting their time creating these images to manually image devices. They're now able to do this fully through the cloud, but they are the ones that have control over this experience, and it's secure, it's productive, it's allowing them to spend more time on other things that they can do for growing the business. So when we talk about the old way of imaging devices, you're building a custom image, you're gathering everything, all the information that was necessary to deploy it, and then you're taking that image and you're deploying it to that computer to make sure that whatever old image is on there, that you're able to overwrite that. Now that was taking a lot of time, and time equals money. So you look at the new way now, and now you can automatically using Windows Autopilot, you can unbox a device and turn it on and have it deploy a profile directly from the cloud. So there's minimal user interaction in this. This is the perfect remote work solution that can make sure that you're not losing out on that security feature when giving these devices to your end users, but still making sure it's a perfect experience for them, limited time that they need to use to be able to turn this device on and get it going, and that it's ready for productive use for them. So let's look at the device lifecycle management. So with Windows Autopilot, there is two main requirements that are needed. So you need Azure Active Directory Premium 1 or Premium 2 plan, and then you need an MDM solution. So in this case, we're looking at Microsoft Intune. So the key benefits include, so there's no more maintenance of images and drivers now. There's no need for the IT team to physically touch these devices. It's a simple process that can be used for various different departments, and it's trusted by the IT teams and it's loved by the end users, right? And it's an integration in the device supply chain as well. So you can bring in so many other solutions into this, whether it's asset tagging, that can all be done through this as well. So, and then the best part about it is that, if this is a company-owned device, and let's say that user is now done with this device, you can easily reset that device back to a business state ready, and again, move on with the same process again. So very simple to be able to remotely wipe that device. Again, there's no physical touch for these devices, but you're still getting the same, if not better, end result. So when we look at Windows Autopilot deployment, there is 3 simple steps to this. So the first one is registering the devices, and that's where CDW can help you. We can take that load off for you. We can simply upload those devices, register them directly for you, working with our distribution partners. And it doesn't matter like what OEM vendor you're going through, we can make it happen as long as the device meets the requirements of Windows Autopilot. And then you would simply create an Autopilot profile and assign that to a group. And I will be sharing a quick video on what it looks like to create an Autopilot profile within the portal. And the last step, just shipping that device to the user. So, you may, for certain reasons, want these devices shipped to your IT team before they go to the end user. But, you can skip that step as well and ship this directly to the end user. And they can turn this on, and with a few simple steps, they'll be ready to go with their device. So with that said, I just wanted to share a quick video that shows the profile assignment and just how simple it can be. And the best part about it is that these profiles, you can create multiple different profiles for different departments based off what their use case scenario is, the apps that you'd like deployed with each of these user groups. And it is very simple to be able to do this. So easily within the portal, you can go to deployment profiles. In this demo, we've already had some created, but easily you can create one. You can go to the assignments, and from this is where you'd be able to assign those user groups. So within this portal, you would select the groups. For this demo purpose, when we select that group, we're going to select an all Autopilot device group. But again, like whether that's marketing, legal, whatever your departments are, you can create different profiles for them and assign them accordingly. And it's just a simple save, and you've assigned these user groups with the profiles. And to wrap it up here and to talk about the Windows Autopilot story, well, what does that really mean? I really want to talk about this recent opportunity that we had. It was a company that sold home healthcare software, and they came to us and they said, we have three main needs. We're looking for a device refresh. We need the best of the best device. We're looking for a modern deployment. We don't want our IT team wasting time imaging these devices, and we need to get these devices out fast. And security, security is a huge deal for us. We need to be able to protect the data that's on these devices, but not only these devices, but also devices that are BYOD, right? So we need the best security that's going to run across various platforms, and not only on these laptops, but also on mobile phones as well. So when we looked at device refresh, our Lenovo team worked with the customer, and we decided to go with the Lenovo T14S. And the reason is because it's a slim, lightweight device that's a 2-in-1 form factor, and it's got that 4K display, which they needed because they are looking at so much data on these devices that they wanted the best screen for that. So they decided to go with this device here. When we look at modern deployment, Windows Autopilot was the obvious solution here to be able to get these devices out to them with the profiles that they needed in a timely manner, because again, that was one of their other needs, is that they needed these out quick. And Microsoft Intune is what brings this together, allows you to deploy that autopilot as an MDM solution, and then also is able to protect their data across the various platforms that they're using. So this is just one example, but since March, we've had so many opportunities that we've been working on where these are the needs of the customers right now, is getting those devices out quick, finding a solution that works not only for the IT team, but for the end user, to keep it very simple so that, they're not having to call IT constantly saying, okay, I'm trying to get my device working. I can't get it set up. This is the step that I'm running into. Windows Autopilot makes it very simple to be able to turn on and just log in with your credentials. And Microsoft Intune, of course, great MDM solution that gives you the best security there. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to YL to go over Modern Workplace.
Okay, thank you, team. Thank you, Ritu. Hi, everyone. My name is Wael. I'm the Modern Workplace BDM with the CDW. In this part, I will take you in the part of Modern Workplace from the software perspective to complete all the cycle. And this is how Microsoft, they try to give the customer the complete end-to-end solution from the part of the device, operating system, then the software of Modern Workplace. So let's jump and see how Modern Workplace has been observed by the business leaders and the business in general. In the last few years, Modern Workplace start to be a top of the mind of the business leaders. So 81% of the users or the business leaders see that the investment in the Modern Workplace will increase. And even this number will not be accurate after what we had this year. So I think it's now more than 80 and 85 of the business leaders see that investing in business in Modern Workplace, it's very crucial to sustain your business up and running and to keep your team collaborated and have the mobility and the ability to work from anywhere, from home, from outside. This is a very crucial for the business. And even one of the most important part that the 72 of the business leader see, it's the technology of Modern Workplace. It's helping their business to survive and to keep connected, which is very important also for any business to keep working on the same level of collaboration and security as we are working on from office. And the last point, security, it's very important. As Raman and Ruto mentioned, to be secure, it's the most crucial point because any breach, it's mean cost for the company. Then this is how the Modern Workplace is evolving and changing the way of we work. We used to work by a different way from decades. So many years ago, we start to use in work in a dedicated office space. We have to do a routine task. To reach to any document, we have to ask for permission, or we have to go physically and reach to these documents. And also the security threats was completely much way less than now. But with the modern workplace, it's completely different. We need to work in agile and teamworks. The security attacks, it's more and more heavier, and it come with the different ways, with the zero-day attacks, malwares. All this change the way we have to work. So as a modern workplace, we have to react by a different way. So we will see how modern workplace can help us in the coming few slides. So here, this is one of the things that I want to touch base with it, Microsoft 365. However, it's not a new for the market, but still a lot of people in the business, they got confused between the Microsoft 365 and Office 365. Microsoft 365 is not a new product. It's just a bundle, a group of products that Microsoft bundle it in one bundle to make it more easy from the license perspective. But Microsoft 365, it's mainly three components. Office 365, which contain the normal product we know, Exchange Online, OneDrive, Microsoft application, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Microsoft Teams, Yammer, it's the social network, SharePoint. So all this, it's the Office 365, which is a part of Microsoft 365. Office 365 can be sold as a standalone, it shouldn't be a part of M365, but Microsoft tried to give the customer the opportunity to have a new bundle called M365. And it also contains the second pillar, it's the operating system, which is Windows 10. And the third pillar, which is the important one, it's the security and compliance. So you have a bunch of products. We will touch base with that today, the underneath of enterprise, mobility, and security group. Then we will look here how Microsoft, they look for modern workplace from productivity perspective. So as you know, Microsoft like to reorganize everything to have different pillars, as Raymond mentioned before. So here we have the collaboration, mobility, intelligence, and trust. And all of them, the four of them, they shape the modern workplace in Microsoft product and how Microsoft, they wanted to deliver the message of modern workplace. So when we jump to the collaboration, I can tell collaboration, it's the most powerful or the most basic pillar in modern workplace. Why? Because as we see, without collaboration, we will not be able to connect the people to work with each other, even if everyone is working remotely. We will not be able to have this sense of feeling that, okay, we are working together, we are connected, we can share the information and work secure. So under Office 365 collaboration, we have the Outlook, Mail, and the calendar, which they are working on multiple devices from the same place, SharePoint, and Microsoft application for co-authoring like PowerPoint, Word, Excel, Microsoft Teams, and we have the enterprise social Yammer, which is the same like Facebook, but for enterprise to have enterprise discussion, business discussion in a secure group. And all these products will be under security of Microsoft product. So let's see what is, from my point of view, the most important collaboration tool with a Microsoft. It's OneDrive. Why? OneDrive, it's not a storage for a documents and library. That's it. I can tell it give you more and more advanced features for that. So with OneDrive, you can create and access files from any device, not only laptop. Now you have the OneDrive for mobile, tablet, and you can access it from any device. And the most important one is that you can share this any document, file, folder with your colleague in your tenant on the same organization, or you even can share it with your partner and third party using their email as an identity. And this is very powerful too, because many times you have a large files and you wanted to share it, and to send it through email, it will take a long time and will take from your network and internet bandwidth, which is crucial for the business. And you can find the OneDrive organized for you the files. So you will, whenever you open and access the OneDrive, you will find your frequent files are there available for you on the top. If there is some sheets you all usually open, or Word document, PowerPoint, you will find. And at the same time, you will be able to navigate and find that OneDrive sort for you each document type or document with each other. So you will find the Word with each other, the Excel, pictures, and so on. And all of that will be secure and backed up with the Microsoft to make sure it's secure for you. The second important tool for collaboration, which I can tell Microsoft Teams, as per Microsoft, they said it's the hero product for them. Since they start Microsoft, it's the most adopted tool for Microsoft. Adoption for Microsoft Teams, it's every day. A lot of people they see and business see Microsoft Teams. It's not just chat or communication for meeting and calls, which is the normal we had before with the Skype for meeting. No, it gives you more for collaboration. So you can connect different teams. You can connect different people to be collaborating with each other. So when you go to the collaboration, you will find that you can share files and you can be collaborated with each other. If you can go to the next, please, you will find here on the collaboration, you will find that you can share the files and you can find it with the different teams. It's very straightforward. You don't have to be sending email back and forth. And will give you a lot of privilege to be connected in one place. And also, when we look for the second one, customization, this is what I love about Microsoft Teams. It's not only having some specific, you have to go different tools to everywhere. No, in the one place you can add from the store. There is 100 application. It's added every day. There is a lot of application added for the store. So it's not even Microsoft application like PowerPoint or Excel or Power BI, LinkedIn, or all these applications. You can even add third-party tools or software like WebEx or Salesforce. All this can be added for your Microsoft Teams. So all your team will work from one place. And the last point, that working with confidence, management wise for Microsoft Teams, the administrator have all the privilege control. They even can control if it's allow for all the team to create a specific teams or to share documents or only sharing chat. They have all the manageability and security part and compliance to be working and managing Microsoft Teams. Then we will see a short video for Microsoft Teams just showing you the different features of Microsoft Teams. So you will see here navigating the chat, you will have the different teams. Under each teams, you will see the people collaborating. They have files, Power BI on the tabs on up. They can have a greetings. On the same time, you have your calendar, which is identically synced with your Outlook calendar. And you have the calls. If you have enterprise voice, you can have international calls or local calls. And at the end of, you will have the files. So you can add storage for your Microsoft Teams. And it's not only OneDrive. This is the beauty of Teams. It's not closing for Microsoft Drive. Only if you have, or if your team used to work with different vendors like Dropbox, Google Drive, you can add these storage to your Microsoft Teams. Then here, I'm just trying to show how Microsoft Teams, it's a very important for collaboration. So sharing and co-authoring in Microsoft Teams, it's completely different, because now if you're working on a specific team and you have a project and you need to update a presentation within a team or few people, you don't have to go back and forth in emails. You just, all of you can work on the same team doing co-authoring or editing on this team using a PowerPoint or OneNote or whatever the application from Microsoft, and all of you will be working on the same time and see what is going on the file. And even search on Microsoft Teams, it's very easy. You can search for any colleague on the people in the search bar, or searching for file, or even for chat. And this will keep everything in one place and make sure that everyone participating on the same team without have to go to different application, jump from one to another, just to have one project or one email or one discussion be closed as soon as possible. Then mobility. When we talk about mobility, we will talk about that, how I can access my application easily from different places, from different applications. So we will see here that we always talk that Outlook, for example, it's easy way to access from your mobile, from your from your computer or from your tablet, and you will be able to reply from all of them. The application is updated and synced between all the devices. And this is not for Outlook only. The same is applied for all Microsoft products. One example for this, it's OneDrive. As we mentioned, you have the OneDrive application. It's installed on or available on the Android devices, iPhone or Mac devices, and for sure for Windows devices. So it's easy to access from everywhere, from any device, and making sure by end of this, everything gets protected using the enterprise and mobility and security suite, which we will talk about in a few slides. But this is just to make sure everything gets accessed from everywhere. Then intelligence. It's very important for any organization nowadays to start to look for how they can visualize the numbers and sales forecast or any numbers in the organization. So Microsoft, they introduced the Power PI. Power PI, it's a very useful way to visualize the numbers and any columns or anything like that, and move it from normal Excel or database to Power BI, which I will have. It's for executive, for team leaders, managers, even for individual employees. It's more easy to visualize this. And the good point that Power BI, it's not connected only for Excel or SQL database. It can connect even for DB2 IBM database or Oracle database. So you have the privilege to get your data visualized on Power BI, even if you are using different database, it just need to connect to the Power BI. So this is a very powerful tool to give you the intelligence part in having Power BI. Then trust. As I start to talk since I start to talk, and even Raman and my team, we talk about security. And I will show you here, it's the same concept that Raymond introduced for you, the same 4 pillars, but we took with Raymond the 4 pillars from the perspective of Windows Pro, Windows 10 Pro. We will see it here from the perspective of security of software. So we have the same 4 pillars, and underneath of each pillar, there is a bunch of products that Microsoft go and introduce for security. So if we go with the first one, which is the identity and access management, as Bear Gartner research company, they mentioned that 80% of attacks it's come from stolen username and password, which is very crucial. So how Microsoft offer that, as Raymond mentioned before, that we have Windows Hello, Windows Credential Guard, but we have another tool coming from the software, which is Azure Active Directory, which is the identity management tool for cloud solution from Microsoft. But it's not only for identity management, it has more feature about that. So it has multi-factor authentication. So where you have dual authentication for any user to access his documents or accessing the Office 365, or even a different application on-prem or cloud third SaaS application, you can use the multi-factor authentication using even a call, SMS, or even using a hardware token, which it could integrate with Azure Active Directory. You have the single sign-on, where you will only having one username and password to access all business application. Having multi-factor authentication, single sign-on, self-password reset, which is a very essential. You will not have to depend on your call center anymore. You can use the self-password reset using integration with Azure Active Directory and multi-factor authentication. All these layers can protect your identity and access management. Then we have the threat protection, where it be protected for malwares and zero-day attacks, but not only protected, the way to be able to react or to respond in case you have this attack and to go back to your normal life and work in case you have this. Underneath of this, we have a lot of products, but the main 3 products I wanted to mention here, they are similar in name a little bit, but are completely different in function. Office 365 ATP and Microsoft Defender ATP and Azure ATP. Let me start with Office 365 ATP, which is the Office 365 tool, cloud tool, to protect your Office 365 from unsafe links, unsafe attachment, or spoofing email, or even unsafe browsing. So whenever you have any email unsafe with attachment unsafe or link unsafe, or even someone trying to spoof or anti-spoofing your email account, it will be protected by Office 365. That Microsoft take all these document and threads email to be having a sandboxing on the cloud and detect if there is any unsafe things, they will block it from scratch. Then Microsoft Defender ATP, it's the cloud-based protection for endpoint, and not only protection for antiviruses and malware, it's also responding for these attacks. And the last one, the Azure ATP, it's a cloud-based solution. It can leverage your on-premise Active Directory signals and identify if there is any risky user, risky login, or any leakage on your identities on-prem Active Directory. It will give you notification and response to protect your documents. Then we have the information protection. Information protection, where you have to protect your information and make sure any sensitive document not leakage. And I think all my team, they also talk about this. We have here Intune, which is very crucial for mobile and device management, and it's part of having Autopilot service, which Urutu mentioned before. It can manage your all devices, even if it's Windows, any different operating system. It can be managed by Microsoft Tune. Office 365 data loss prevention, it's controlling the sensitive documents and information, and to make sure it will not travel outside your organization if you don't want this, or even outside specific teams or people, so you can control this by data loss prevention. Then the last pillar is the security management, where you need to have a dashboard to give you more insights regarding your security posture, what you are doing from the security perspective compared to your industry peer, and even not that it will give you a score so you can add more features until you give you guidance to know how to improve your security to be compliant with a different security aspect like ISO 27K if you are looking for this, or GDPR, any of these different security worldwide organization. By end of this, thank you for being with you, and I will be handed over to Brian to Q&A.
Awesome, thanks, YL. And I don't believe I see any questions on the line. So I think with that said, I guess I'm going to wrap it up with this, guys. There was a lot of content that we covered off today. And if there's really any follow-up questions, your CDW account manager, your primary point of contact, will be a great place to start. They're able to get in touch with any of our solutions architects or BDMs, whether it be YL, Ritu, or anyone else from the greater Microsoft team or greater CDW team at that. I guess on behalf of myself, YL, Raman, as well as Ritu, just like to thank everyone for joining us today, and hope everyone has a great afternoon.